Now, when you look at the entire just market of luxury watches, sports watches certainly dominate. But for my personal taste and what I think a lot of good deals reside are in dress watches. So today we're going to be looking at underrated luxury dress watches. Okay, let's start off the video with a little hypocrisy because I'm wearing a Tudor Submariner with a NATO strap from my store. You can get NATO straps on my store starting at $10. We have different variations available, dozens of different colors available. And TeddyBaldassarre.com, the best place to buy watch straps on the internet, going from $10 NATOs all the way up to $400 premium French-made Jean Rousseau straps. So whatever you want to find, we'll have it there. But starting off our list for watches here, we have a watch that I have mentioned on the channel before. It's one that I think has a very compelling offer with Baume & Mercier's Clifton Baumatic 10436. So price here, we're looking at around $2,000 to around $3,000. Case size is 40 millimeters, thickness 10.3 millimeters, powered by an automatic BM12 1975A. A little bit more on that movement in a moment. Water resistance of 50 meters and has a sapphire crystal. So if you've watched a video of me mentioning this watch in the past, you'll notice that I have just really gravitated towards the actual movement inside of here. And I think it does have some compelling things about it. For one, you're operating at 4 Hertz. We also have a cost certified movement as well, plus or minus 5 seconds per day on accuracy here. And then I think the most impressive thing is just the power reserve here. So we have a 5-day power reserve on this watch, 120 hours. This is a fully in-house movement from Baume & Mercier, and I think probably my favorite watch from the brand. Elegance mixed in with functionality from a dress watch is always a great thing. And considering where this falls in terms of price, I think you're getting a lot here from the Richemont Group brand. All right, guys, so next up, we have Montblanc. And Montblanc is a brand that is still relatively developing their just ability to be known around their watches more than their other luxury good products. But I think they're coming along very well. And the watch here we're gonna be looking at is the Montblanc Heritage Chronometry Automatic. Price here, we're looking at between $1,200 and $2,900. So I saw quite a bit of fluctuation in the prices here, which is from a buyer standpoint, probably a good thing because you can probably get a really good deal. Case size, we're looking at 40 millimeters. Case thickness, 7.65 millimeters. Movement is an MB2409. That's a Sellita-based movement. Water resistance of 30 meters and comes with a sapphire crystal. This watch has a really slim design, easy will slide underneath any cuff. Minimal silver white dial with rhodium plated hands that allows the hands to pop under light, and is a very lightweight watch coming in at just 54 grams, 42-hour power reserve, beats at 28,000 vibrations per hour as well, and a brand that, of course, this doesn't just focus on watches, but I think one that exudes that luxury type of feel, and I'm just interested to see how Montblanc continues to build out their watch lineup. All right, so when you think of Grand Seiko, you're probably thinking the spring drive movements, and for good reason, but we're talking more about underrated watches here. So I think one of my favorite watches from Grand Seiko from an aesthetic standpoint, and partially because a lot of the spring drives, for one, they're a little bit too large for my personal taste, and for maybe looking at the overall just approach that many of us come to expect from dress watches. And I'm not the biggest fan of the power reserve indicator. I want to look for traditional kind of 3-hand watch. My favorite Grand Seiko watch, despite not having that spring drive, is the Grand Seiko SBGW 231. So this watch comes in with a price of $4,300, case size of 37.3 millimeters, so smaller in case size when we're looking at the entire lineup here. Thickness, we're looking at 11.6 millimeters. Movement powering this thing, we actually have a Grand Seiko manual wound movement. It's a 9S64, water resistance of 30 meters, and has a sapphire crystal. So as I mentioned before, I think this particular watch does a better job just with the balance on the dial, no date window here, no power reserve indicator, and I think it just gives off a more dressy overall style, especially given that smaller case profile as well. Inside here, we still have a very solid movement, a manual wound movement, which is kind of interesting. 72-hour power reserve, plus or minus 5 seconds to minus 3 seconds per day when static, plus 10 seconds to minus 1 second per day with normal usage. So you're still getting a very accurate movement. You have that display case back as well, where you can actually see the finishing on the watch and the movement itself. And when you mix that cream dial with just the beautiful hands on this watch, getting to try this on, a beautiful watch, probably my personal favorite. I know it doesn't have the spring drive, which is a little unfortunate, but I'd love to see more spring drive offerings in this kind of sizing. I don't know how much difficulty comes with that just given the actual diameter of the movements themselves, but would love to see it. All right guys, so we're talking about dress watches here. We need some attire to match that. So I want to give a mention to Tailor Stitch. They're a partner of the channel. If you guys have been watching me for well over a year, you know that I originally started talking about style and fashion on this channel as well, and they were a brand that I constantly brought up. And the great thing about this partnership, if you use the promo code TEDDY10, you'll get $10 off your next order of Tailor Stitch. And if you're a first-time customer, you will also receive an additional 20% off your order automatically being applied at checkout. They're releasing a ton of new shirting, denim, and a lot of things coming out for the summer as well. So definitely check out that link in the description. I'm rocking this long haul jacket here. It's got these copper buttons. I absolutely love this thing. I get the most compliments. I've been going a little more casual lately, probably because I just have a YouTube channel and that's my job. So I don't really have to dress up anymore, but really love the look of this thing. Go check them out if you haven't yet. Okay, so now for these next two brands, I think when we're looking at value for money, in which they reside, probably some of the best in all of luxury watchmaking. And the first brand here is JLC. And when we think of JLC, we obviously are probably gonna think of the Reverso for most of us. For me though, I've always loved the Master Collection in terms of what's offered. And I'm just a huge fan of the overall collection as a whole. I actually am gonna be doing a review on 4 watches from this collection very soon, so keep an eye open for that. But the watch we're looking at here from JLC is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Control Date. So this is one that is very vintage inspired with that sector dial, and I know it maybe isn't as underrated as many others, but I think just JLC as a whole, I think is so overlooked when considering many of just the watches available in the ranges in which they occupy. So this watch here is a great entry level for the brand. Price here you can find around $5,000 to $6,000. Case size of 39 millimeters, case thickness of 8.5 millimeters, so you are getting a rather slim profile watch. Movement, JLC 8991, water resistance of 50 meters, and has a sapphire crystal. So for movement here, we have an automatic movement again, and then just flipping the watch over, you have just a beautiful exposed movement, an awesome looking rotor as well, operating at 28,000 vibrations per hour for this movement, and JLC, what comes to the best when it comes to just getting value for money. Which brings us to our next brand here, the Glashütte Original with their 60s line. So the 60s line is a line of dress watches that I think, when I'm thinking of just looking at the JLC of Germany, Glashütte Original is that, in my opinion, delivering high value finishing. I know some people see this as like the stepping stone going into a Lange, but I mean, is that really a bad thing? I mean, like in reality. And also I think they're delivering a ton of amazing watches on their own, in their own right. So they're a Swatch Group brand. These particular watches here come in different precious metals, very simple oriented dress watches, $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the version that you're going for, as well as just the many different dial colors that you can choose from, some funkier than others. Case size though, 39 millimeters, thickness of 9.4 millimeters, movement automatic 3952, water resistance of 30 meters, and has a sapphire crystal. These are all beautifully finished, amazing looking rotors as well, Arabic style numerals on these dial, and again, just many different color options to choose from. And I think just both them and JLC, amazing quality for the money. So as a proud owner of an Omega Constellation, a vintage Omega Constellation, and I've done an entire video reviewing my particular model that I have, some of my favorite watches in the entire vintage market, especially from Omega. I'm a huge fan of this next watch, which is the Omega Globemaster. Case size of 39 millimeters, case thickness of 12.5 millimeters, coming with an Omega coaxial 8900. That's a master chronometer, movement here, water resistance of 100 meters, and has a sapphire crystal. So overall, I think this is one of the most underrated Omega watches out there, with the likes of the Railmaster. But the long history of the Constellation has just a line of just pursuing accuracy. Many of the earlier designs, actually being some designed by Gerald Genta, has really just given way to this particular design here. And in addition, getting a coaxial movement with that master chronometer rating, you have anti-magnetic properties in here as well, but you're getting that pie pan style dial, which I'm a sucker for. And if you go for that silver white dial variant, that's probably my favorite, with just the simple stick markings. It's so simple. You get that beautiful fluted bezel, and then combining it with a watch that is going to, of course, lean dressy, but has the specs to match, being able to wear it in maybe a little more sporty occasions with that 100 meters of water resistance. A great everyday option and a watch that I think is incredibly overlooked. All right, so next up we have a smaller independent brand founded by a watch enthusiast who wanted to create their own watch. And this watch is the Ming 1901. And the price here, we're looking at $7,400, around $7,800. Case size of 39 millimeters, thickness of 10.9 millimeters. Movement is a Schwarz time. Ming caliber MSE 1001. So this is a movement from an independent brand made in Switzerland. Water resistance of 50 meters. And then for crystal, we have a sapphire crystal. So this watch and brand was founded by Ming Thien, a Malaysian-based watch enthusiast that wanted to create his own watch. And he did it in a great way, and it's been really well received. So Geneva Watchmaking Grand Prix, this is a 2018 pre-selection enlisted watch. You have a Swiss-made movement in here, case made of grade 5 titanium, straps made by John Rousseau, available on TeddyBaldassarre.com as well. Movement showcases skeletonized bridges, beautifully constructed, hand-wound movement, hacks, and has more than 100 hours of power reserve. Superluminova X1 fills on the sapphire crystal. And I think for this particular watch, I think of Ming, and I think of like Habring, and just brands that are independent, really small amount of just quantity and output that they're putting out there, but really good watches that are very different for those that maybe want to go down that path. Okay, so next up we have a watch from the Kering Group underneath that umbrella, which is GirardPerregaux with their 1966. So these watches fluctuate quite a bit depending on the models that you go for, but we're looking at prices between $7,900 to around $38,000. Great thing about these watches though, some really good deals to be had in the secondary market. Case size of 38 millimeters or 40 millimeters. They do have quite a few different variations in terms of case sizing. These are probably the two that would be most suitable for most people. Case thickness 8.62 millimeters. Movement automatic GP 033000030. Water resistance of 30 meters. Crystal, we're looking at a sapphire crystal. So GirardPerregaux, Swiss luxury watchmaker, part of the Kering Group. And for precious metals, you have quite a few to different choose from. You have gold options as well as stainless steel on that lower end if you want to kind of get a good value for money option there. 28,000 vibrations per hour on these movements, 46-hour power reserve. And the great thing about this entire lineup is you also have different options that make up the 1966 collection. You have another one that's my favorite, is their full calendar, fully in-house movement, annual calendar with a moon phase that I think is really awesome looking watch and one to consider as well if you're looking for a good deal, especially on that used market. Okay, so now for our next watch. It's a watch that I actually have done an entire review on, and I am a huge fan of, even furthered with my fandom after getting to do a review on it, and that is the Rolex Cellini time. So if you have not seen my video reviewing this watch in more detail, I will link to it in the description down below. But just overall, some of my favorite Rolex watches, and I know in terms of just secondary market, they are not nearly as good as pretty much any other Rolex model, but these watches come in price range between $11,000 and $15,000, case size of 39 millimeters, case thickness of 11 millimeters, powered by a Rolex Automatic 3132, water resistance of 50 meters, and has a sapphire crystal. So these watches, there's a lot to love about them, and I will defer to my complete write-up. My personal favorite, I think, is the white gold variant with that silver style dial. Love it. I did one of a review on the Everose gold version with the black dial. Still a very stunning watch. They also have a lineup of moon phase variations, which probably, I think, maybe the best looking ones, but just more expensive, probably doubling the price here. But just beautiful watches. And I think kind of the charm that comes with them is they're a Rolex watch. You have that Rolex name on the dial, but for anybody else in the room, at least that's not maybe in the know, will never know that you're wearing a Rolex on your wrist. All right, guys, so now for our last watch on the list, we have the Brega Classique 5157. So when I'm thinking of just luxury brands, and especially from the high horology standpoint of view, from maybe a mainstream brand, I think Brega does get lost a little bit. But I just think these watches here that we're looking at epitomize what Brega is all about, a brand underneath the Swatch umbrella, a brand that was responsible for developing the first tourbillon, and although debated, many state that they were the first brand ever to create the wristwatch. Yes, the wristwatch. And this particular model comes in with a price range of $12,000 to $18,800, case size of 38 millimeters, case thickness of a staggering 5.4 millimeters, movement Brega caliber 5023, water resistance of 30 meters, and has a sapphire crystal. So when looking at this watch, there's a few things that come out right away. One being just the beautiful finishing on the dial. We have that guilloche style dial, the signature Brega hands, a unique off-center winding rotor, and then also you have threaded lugs here as well on this watch. And to pack that style of movement in this watch is certainly a feat, but nothing that is out of the ordinary for a brand like Brega. All right, guys, so I really love this topic, and I'd love to do more of these in the luxury tier. I know some people don't like talking about luxury watches as much as others, but just love dress watches, and I think there's a lot of amazing options once you start getting up to a little higher price tiers. But guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Big help for me. Also go over to Baldassarre.com, the best watch strap store on the entire internet, and take your watch to the next level. And then also go to the link in the description, go to Bob's Watches. Maybe you want to get some of the watches that I mentioned here. Any iconic watch available on their store, one of the largest online retailers, a partner of the channel. If you use that link in the description, any purchase helps support the content that you're watching. And then finally, if you want to join our watch giveaway, fill out that watch giveaway form and then follow me on Instagram. A lot more content has been posted there, and it's a great way to engage with me on a more personal level. So guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.